Hey, wow, mamas and friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Wow Mama podcast. I'm your host, Tiff, and I'm really excited to connect with you today and share a little bit of insight into some reflections I've been having about becoming an adult. I'm 38 years old, and the other day I was taking a walk in my neighborhood. I was feeling really good. And I had this thought come into my head that, wow, I'm 38 and I finally feel like I'm becoming an adult. I don't know if you can relate to that, but it was this like profound moment of feeling like all of the healing and inner work that I've been doing for years, especially work I've been doing in the last year, is finally kind of like showing and bearing fruit in a different kind of way. Like it's always valuable, and I always see, you know, improvements, but it feels like more of like a culmination period, or like it's all kind of coming to a head to a point where like a real shift is happening. So I have been doing a lot of inner digging in myself in the last year. I mean, definitely the last years, but particularly this year, I've been going for the like roots. Like the roots underneath the roots underneath the roots. Um, I've had a lot of different things moving in my life, and challenges that have come that have really hit me to the core, and really made me ask deep questions of like, where does this come from? Like, what is that? And I think that for y'all who have been on the healing journey, you know that there's layers. There's layers upon layers upon layers. And so I feel like I'm able to get to these much deeper roots because I've been digging for a long time. And I want to say one thing, that I'm not a fan of just like healing for healing's sake, okay? Because I'll be the first to say that sometimes when you're always focused on healing, it can actually become exhausting, right? So, in my saying that I've been digging and digging, there are breaks in between, okay? There are times where I'm like, okay, I need to step back, or times when I'm aggressively doing therapy, and then times when I'm not. Times when I'm like avidly reading books and consuming new knowledge, and times where I'm not. Okay, so you have to find your own rhythm when it comes to healing, but I'm not a proponent of just like constant digging, constant questioning, constant wondering, because that shit is exhausting and it will kind of wear you down. So I just wanted to give that caveat because a lot of people are talking about healing right now, and it's like a fad, it's like a thing. But I do think that you have to kind of pace yourself with healing and take your time, because doing too much digging and not having enough time to rest and play, and explore and do other things, again, I feel like it can kind of become all consuming and take over. Um, so, anyways, I've been doing a lot of digging and digging and digging and digging in certain areas of my life, particularly around love and relationships and family. I kind of came to this point, it was around last year into this year, where I'm like, wow. And I was like 37, 38, I'm 37, 38, like getting close to 40, and I really feel like I still need parents. Like, I still need a mama. I still need a daddy. But I don't really have them. My mom passed at 53 when I was around 24, 25. And my dad is still living, but, we're not as connected in that way. And I think the childhood version of me, all the younger versions, a little Tiff, really feel that loss, really feel that gap of not having um, parents in the way that I needed, or not having my needs met as a child in many, many different ways. And so I started hypnotherapy this year because I was like, I've been working with a therapist for the last year and a half or so, and I felt like I need to go deeper because I know myself. I can get really deep. Um, I'm like an ocean, y'all. We're all like an ocean, okay? The depths of us are vast. And so I need I needed something or someone to kind of help facilitate the process of me going much deeper. And so I was like, I have a friend, and she was like, yeah, I go to this therapist, you should check her out. And I was like, cool, let me go. And I didn't know that she did hypno until I had a conversation with her and she mentioned it. And I was like, huh, I never done hypno. I know absolutely nothing about it, but hey, let's give it a shot. Okay. So I started seeing this therapist this year, and I went in with clear questions around what I was trying to figure out within myself, um, and within my relationship. And so I started doing hypno and working with her. And what really emerged for me um, was really being able to see and feel and hear the past versions of me. I call them my little tiffs. um, I think a lot of people refer to it as like your childhood self or whatever they call it. Um, but I've had many little tiffs, and being able to connect with the many versions of me up until now helped me kind of see and feel that each of those versions of me holds their own fears, holds their own needs, holds their own traumas or understanding of our traumas. Um, all of them hold different parts of my personality. Um, and so when I recognized that it's not just one version of past Tiff, but many versions of past Tiff, it helped me kind of see like like I, I don't know how to say this, but like it helped me understand why um there was such like a weight to some of the things that I had been experiencing. And it made me, because it's many voices like speaking their needs versus just one child with unmet needs speaking, if that makes sense, right? So like it's like if you're in a room and one person's talking versus 10 people talking. Okay, like many of us mamas, our inner world is so dynamic. And many times, like, we have a lot of different things happening at the same time. We have a lot of different voices, feelings, needs, all coming up. And sometimes it can be just like, whoa, 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 like, what's happening? And so, for me, the weight of some of the things that I was experiencing in my life, and some of the, like, just, I don't know, feeling like some of my thoughts and behaviors, they felt they felt like they were just coming from such a deep place. And so I was navigating all of that, and I was like, where is this coming from? Why do I feel like this? Why do I act like this? Why do I react in this way? Why do I feel these things? Why did I do that? Why did I make that decision? Just really trying to understand, like, what the fuck is going on. And when I could start to uncover all of these different versions of Lil Tiff, it really helped me see myself in a more expanded lens. And I do have to give credit to my daughter, Genesis. We call her Genesis in Spanish. She actually was one of the first people that helped me recognize that. And I won't get into the whole story, but I just have to give her credit because she's a wise young woman. And she kind of called that out for me, and just helped me see how how just how unmet my needs were, right? Because it's one thing to say, like, oh, when I was 5, I had these unmet needs. It's another thing to be like, okay, when I was 5, I had these unmet needs. But then when I was 11, I also had these unmet needs. And when I was 13, I had new needs that were unmet. And then 15, I had new needs that were unmet. And then 19 and 20, 21, 26, 28, 29. 33, 36, and so on and so on and so on, right? Like every time we grow as a person, we have new needs, we have new desires, we have new dreams, we have more expansive perspectives on ourselves, on life, and the world, new feelings that emerge. And I never ever recognized in my life that continuum, that it's not just needs from when I was 5 or 6 or 8, but it's like the culmination of all of my unmet needs as I grew through childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, into adulthood, etc. And so it just kind of like started to help me see why the patterns I was experiencing in my life were so great, right? The patterns that felt like, damn, that does not feel like me, but for some reason I keep doing it. It felt like out of my control. And so on that walk that I was having that day, I just had this moment of like, wow, I finally feel, not only am I becoming an adult, but like the wise, wild woman in me, the wise Tiff, my higher self, the truest version of me, is finally taking the lead in my own life. Because I realized that all the past versions of Lil Tiff, they were like taking turns of leading aspects of my life, many aspects of my life. And so even though I felt like I had been growing, I've been on this healing journey, I've been serving mamas, like breaking through, I still had certain areas of my life where there were patterns where I was like, that doesn't fit. That doesn't align to my values. Like, that doesn't feel like it's an integrity. Why did I do that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you felt that, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating to be on a healing journey, to be, feeling like you're figuring yourself out, but to still have these areas in your life that just feel like they don't reflect you, but you have no clue how to change them, right? So I've been trying to get to those roots of like, all right, I've been conquering all these different areas of my life, gaining understanding, growing, healing, but there's these other areas that I'm like, I just feel like I can't fully break through. I can't get to the root. And them roots were freaking deep. They were so, so deep. And so through this work of like becoming more aware of these versions of myself and understanding the deeper why, and maybe the deeper kind of needs that I had, it really helped me to start to heal those things and also recognize and identify the behaviors or the symptoms that are associated with all my little Tiff needs and how those get expressed in my day-to-day life. And it helped me start to be able to recognize when those things are appearing in my life, whether it's anxiety, whether it's like kind of, a more anxious attachment style, whether it was honestly having an attitude, or shutting down, not being able to fully communicate, fear, like overwhelming fear, not being able to speak my needs or advocate for myself. Like, there's different ways that little tiffs express themselves. There's one in particular where I get in my head and I overthink. I overthink. I overthink. I overthink. I overcalculate, and I like. There's a part of my mind that's very obsessive, and I can obsessively think about something to try to figure it out. To the point of like, yo, this is a lot. This is like kind of draining my energy and my life force. So as I've been able to do that work and get more clear on how little tiffs show up, it's allowed me to acknowledge those feelings and needs, but also still lead my life as the most mature version of me, right? To instead of letting those feelings and all those things dictate my actions and how I show up in the world, I can acknowledge that they're there, but I can choose to still show up in a more thoughtful, healthy, um, aligned way. And so I had that moment on that walk. I was like, "Dang, I'm 38, and it's a moment, y'all. Like, I am leading my life as Tiff. Like, Tiff is leading my life versus all my little Tiffs leading my life." And it really was a good feeling because, I mean, that's what you want with all of this inner work, all of this reflection, all of this like building a relationship with yourself. You want it to culminate in some kind of way with a new understanding or a shift or like a different feeling in your body and your mind and your heart and your soul. And I can say that it feels damn good to like feel like I have a better sense of these areas of my life that have felt like they kind of like are like the thorn in my side, and making me not be able to realize my fullest potential. They're blocks. They keep me stuck. They keep me in a place where I'm like, I can't truly step into my greater purpose. And so having that moment was really profound for me. And it really just made me really grateful for the healing journey that I've been on, and my resilience through very difficult times, especially the past 3 years, have been incredibly difficult. Like, whoa, but also incredibly refining, incredibly transformative. Um, it's really like, what do they call that? Like, um, something by fire, whatever that statement is. But but anyways, I really feel like I've been shaped a little bit more and shed a lot of um shed a lot of old beliefs and ideas, um and roots, dead roots that aren't nourished, or nourishing, roots that are sick, um, and they don't serve where we're going. Um, and so I'm really grateful to all the little versions of Tiff that got me to this point. And I am really happy to be the version of Tiff that I am right now. I am so happy with myself. It feels so good to truly love and accept myself because there was so long when I did not. It feels really good to feel good in my skin. It feels really good to have clarity of purpose, and not only clarity of purpose, but almost like a clear pathway to take action in that purpose, because I've had my purpose. I've known what it is for the last 4 years, over 4 years. But I couldn't consistently step into that purpose. I couldn't consistently um, show up in the way that I wanted to. I was consistent as much as I could be. But I know that there's more in me, more that I'm capable of. And so it feels really, really good to feel like I've cleared I've cleared more of the blocks, that have kept me in this stop go stop go stop go kind of rhythm with my greater purpose and my work in the world. And so I hope that sharing this is maybe some encouragement to you if you've been on your healing journey for a while, if you feel like behind, or you're not moving fast enough, or you're not seeing the shifts and changes that you want to see. I hope that this encourages you that if you stick to the path and you keep showing up, it will come to fruition. It's not easy, it's not always comfortable, um, but it does ultimately become clearer. And I'm a big advocate for getting support in that journey. I think that we're often taught as mamas to figure it out on our own. There's no reason why you should ask for help. You're not deserving of help. All of the things that society tells us, that makes us feel unworthy of getting the support that we need. But I've worked with coaches, I've worked with therapists, I read tons and tons of books, and so get support. And that's ultimately why Wild Mama is here. We are here to help you and help facilitate your healing and your wholeness through reconnection to yourself, to each other as a community, and to the land. Okay, like that's why we're here. And we're not only here to help you, and encourage you to do that, but to also show you how. And that's why I have the Mama Master Plan program, which consistently and persistently changes my life. Like every time I do a new cohort, I feel like I become like a new person through it. Just being on the collective journey with other mamas, having the blessing and the privilege of taking these deep dive adventures with mamas into their own inner world, going through the lessons and understanding like universal laws, and connecting back to nature, and all of these beautiful things that the program has. It really has impacted my life, but it's also impacted and transformed so many other mamas' lives. And so we really want to be a resource for you. Wild Mama is here to help you really navigate this complex and nuanced journey. So whether it's Wild Mama or the Mama Master Plan program or therapy or another resource, don't be afraid to get help. And but ultimately, get help and own your own healing and your own journey, right? So that's what I try to do in the program and in my work is I can give you a facilitated process. I can give you the structure. I can give you the frameworks. But ultimately, it's you that has to show up. So nobody can heal me. And I have had to work through my desire of being saved, like many of us, like wanting somebody to come and heal me, wanting somebody to come and do the work. Just save me, help me. But I've always had to come back to the fact that, like, no one's coming to, okay? We have to take ownership and agency over our own lives. That's one of the beauties of being a sovereign human being. But we can get help on that journey. And that's one of the beautiful visuals that I have in my head every time I think of Wild Mama, every time I think about the program and this collective journey that we're on. It's like we're all literally walking through the trudges of a swamp, right? Like this murky, thick mud water. And it's hard. We each have to pick up our right foot, our left foot, take one step at a time. That's each of our jobs. But it feels so like relieving and encouraging when I can look to my right or to my left and see another mama there going through the same thing, giving me a smile, cheering me on, me cheering them on, seeing what another mom was doing to get there and get through it, and using that idea to help me, right? So like, it's not that we aren't going to go through the journey. We have to go through the journey, but it's so much more fun and exciting to go through the journey together. So that's why I'm sharing my experience with you today. And I hope that it was helpful and encouraging to you. I want you to feel seen. I want you to feel heard. I want you to know that you're not on this journey alone. You have this collective of wow mamas, all dedicated to their own healing and to creating and building a new future, one that we can all be proud of, a legacy that we love for the next 7 generations. So I'm wishing you well, wow mama and friends. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, bye y'all.